Ba-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-dum, bum, bum, bum. Hello, everyone. I am BowserJrXD. Welcome to the Monaco ePrix at the Circuit de Monaco, race 6 of 16 for Formula E in 2025. The first race in Europe, and of course it comes at the FIA's most glazed track, so the ABB, FI Formula E, the Circuit de Monaco, where F1 will be at the end of the month. Rookie Taylor Barnard scores his second career pole. Can the young Brit, 22 years old, is he 20? No, wait, I think he's younger. Hold on. So yeah, 20 years old. Can he score his first career victory? His last pole did get him runner-up. Only a little more to complete the job. All right, so because they start quick, I'm going to go over the starting lineup. Starting 22nd, driving the number 22, Lola Yamaha for Lola Yamaha ABT Formula E team. 21 years old from Bridgerton, from Bridgetown, Barbados, Zane Maloney, the lowest of the three rookies. Starting 21st, driving the number 55, Maserati for Maserati MSG Racing. 30 years old from Birmingham, United Kingdom, Jake Hughes. Starting 20th, driving the number 16, Envision Jaguar for Envision Racing. 36 years old from Igel, Switzerland, Sebastian Buemi. Starting 19th, driving the number 37, Jaguar for Jaguar TCS Racing. 30 years old from Auckland, New Zealand, Nick Cassidy. Starting 18th, driving the number 17, Nissan for Nissan Formula E team. 32 years old from Caen, France, Norman Nato. Also, looking at the list of winners real quick, Nick Cassidy won this race in 2023. Sebastian Buemi ran the first two runnings in 2015 and 2017. That being said, I should also mention that those two wins for Buemi were on the short course. Starting 17th, driving the number 11, Lola Yamaha for Lola Yamaha ABT Formula E team. 40 years old from Sao Paulo, Brazil, Lucas de Grassi. Starting 16th, driving the number 25, DS for DS Penske. 35 years old from Pontoise, France, Jean-Eric Verne, the winner here in 2019, also in the short course. Starting 15th, driving the number 13, Antonio Felix da Costa. 33 years old from Cascais, Portugal, and Antonio Felix da Costa. Wait, starting 15th, number 13 Porsche for Tag Heuer. I said the team instead, the driver said the team. Driving the number 13 Porsche for Tag Heuer Porsche Formula E team. 33 years old from Cascais, Portugal, Antonio Felix da Costa, the winner at 2021, which also used a very slightly different layout where they altered the Nouvelle chicane, but that was the only change relative to the regular layout for F1. Starting 14th, driving the number 51, Andretti Porsche for Andretti Formula E. 33 years old from Thun, Switzerland, Nico Muller. Starting 13th, driving the number 2, Maserati for Maserati MSG Racing. 33 years old from Kortrijk, Belgium, Stoffel van Doorn. Starting 12th, driving the number 8, McLaren Nissan for Neon McLaren Formula E team. 38 years old from Roehampton, United Kingdom, Sam Bird. Starting 11th, driving the number 3, Kiro Porsche for Cooper Kiro. 25 years old from Iserlohn, Germany, David Beckman, the middle rookie. Now for the top 10. Starting 10th, driving the number 7, DS for DS Penske. 27 years old from Oberstdorf, Germany, Maximilian Günther. Starting 9th, driving the number 48, Mahindra for Mahindra Racing. 38 years old from Geneva, Switzerland, Eduardo Mortara. Starting 8th, driving the number 9 Jaguar for Jaguar TCS Racing. 30 years old from Auckland, New Zealand, Mitch Evans. Starting 7th, driving the number 27 Andretti Porsche for Andretti Formla E. 29 years old from Nuneaton, United Kingdom, Jake Dennis. Starting 6th, driving the number 4 Envision Jaguar for Envision Racing. 33 years old from Maastricht, Netherlands, Robin Freins. Starting 5th, also again, winners here. Mitch Evans is the defending winner at Monaco, and Stoffel Van Dorn won the 2022 version. Starting 5th, starting 6th, yeah, did Freins. Starting 5th, driving the number 1 Porsche for Tag Heuer Porsche Formula E team. 30 years old from Sigmaringen, Germany, Pascal Wehrlein. Starting 4th, driving the number 21 Mahindra for Mahindra Racing. 30 years old from Uitwellengeres, Netherlands, Nick de Vries. Starting 3rd, driving the number 33 Kiro Porsche for Cupra Kiro. 25 years old from London, United Kingdom, Dan Tichtum. Starting outside pole, driving the number 23 Nissan for Nissan Formula E team. 32 years old from Barnsley, United Kingdom, Oliver Rowland. And on the pole, driving the number 5 McLaren Nissan for Nia McLaren Formula E team, with a pole time of 90.117 seconds. So 1 minute 30.17 seconds. 0.117 seconds. Just want to make sure I'm using that right. Which is in a pulse speed of 82.852 miles per hour or 133.307 miles per hour. 20 years old from Norwich, United Kingdom, the leading rookie on the tour, Taylor Barnard. That is your starting lineup for today's Monaco ePrix.
Pressure behind every wheel.
It's right down and we're ready to getting it. Just wait.
Or getting it very, very wrong.
Where speed beats spectacle.
Precision meets pressure.
You need both. Monaco
ePrix.
Monte Carlo, where glitz meets glamour, where fame meets fortune, and where desire meets destiny. 22 of the world's best drivers are all aiming for one goal, and that's victory on these fabled streets. Welcome to the Monaco ePrix. It is great to have your company. My name is Tom Brooks. Alongside me in the commentary box for this race is Karun Chandok and David Coulthard here to guide you through the action. And what a weekend's worth of racing we have had already. It is going to be hugely exciting over the course of this 29 lapper today, with the addition of pit boost in for the very first time as well. Let's have a closer look then at this Monaco circuit. We first raced here back in 1929, believe it or not. The initial race was over 4 hours long. Some 96 years later, we're here with the Premier Electric International Racing Series. 3.3 kilometres, 19 turns in total. Karun Chandok, it's an absolute classic, this racetrack, isn't it?
There's iconic monuments all the way around it, but none more so than the actual corners themselves. Mirabeau, Poitiers, Lowe's Hairpin, to back as we're coming through the chicane as well. They are just brilliant overtaking opportunities down into the chicane, down into turn 1. But actually, I think with the attack mode, it's going to be a bit of fun into Mirabeau today as well.
Yeah, four-wheel drive for the first time ever in attack mode at Monaco. Saw the drivers going through to back there in towards the final section. Larascas and then Anthony Nose completes the lap. Pit boost to mention as well in this race. Drivers will have to come to a stop for 34 seconds, take on an extra 10% worth of energy with that, and it will make things very exciting in terms of the strategy. But let's guide you through the grid then ahead of the ePrix this afternoon. It is Zane Maloney who lines up at the back of the field with Jake Hughes, his second successive start from 21st on the grid. Next up for Wemming and Nick Cassidy, his second worst starting position of the 2025 season. Norman Nato, row number 9 for him. He was on pole 2 weeks ago in Miami. Podium man from Miami, Lucas de Grassi, lines up alongside. Then you've got Byrne and Da Costa. He's second in the championship at the moment, is the Portuguese driver. Nico Muller and Stoffel Van Dorn next up on the grid. Van Dorn leading Maserati's home charge in that team's home race. Then it's Sam Bird and McLaren on 12th position on the grid, with David Beckman just outside of the top 10 in the Cupra Kiro. And this is how the top 10 lines up on the grid here in Monte Carlo. It'll be hugely exciting to see what happens. 10th place on the grid is Maximilian Günther. That's the only time he has lined up in 10th place all season. He's only lined up outside 10th once all year as well. Eder Mortara lines up in 9th position, unlucky to miss out on the duels after free practice pace for him. Then it is Mitch Evans. He was the 2024 winner of this ePrix last year. That's his best quali since Jeddah in February. Then you've got Jake Dennis alongside him on that row of the grid. His first ever top 10 starting position here in Monte Carlo. Robin Freitz, he was second at this race in 2021, and he's joined by the reigning world champion Pascal Wehrlein. Porsche aiming for their first ever victory on the streets of Monaco. Double Formula 2 race winner in Monaco, the number 21, Nick de Vries, lines up on the next row of the grid with Dan Ticktum alongside. That's a career best qualifying for the Briton in Formula E in the Cupra Kiro. He's had great pace so far this weekend. And the front row of the grid is occupied by Oliver Rowland. He hit the wall in the dual finals, but he's had 3 podiums in 5 races and leads the Drivers' Championship by 14 points. Taylor Barnard, his second ever pole position, as he aims to become the youngest ever winner in Formula E at just 20 years of age. So then, drivers are lined up on the grid, completing their burnouts. They make their way into their final starting positions. 29 laps of action. DC, you've just been down on the grid. It is was absolutely jam-packed there, but the atmosphere was quite literally electric.
It is indeed, and that's what I love about Monaco as well. It's always a crazy grid. It's exciting, and I think for me it's quite difficult to tell. And you've got the old hand against the young charger. You've got the protege alongside his former teacher. What do you think, Karun, between those two?
Well, you got those two running the first corner. You also got Dan Ticktum starting up in the lofty heights of 3rd place, which we've not seen the Cupra Kiro doing. So interested to see how he plays the opening part of this race as well.
There's Barnard on the left-hand side of your picture and Oliver Rowland on the right. 22 of the world's best drivers ready to take to the grid for this one. Dan Ticktum, as I said, his best ever qualifying in Formula E. The 5 red lights are about to
All right, here we go. We're green at Monaco, 29 laps around the 2-mile street course. Barnard leads, they head into turn 1.
Side-by-side action there further back. They go 2 by 2 through Sandebots, up the rise of Massenet and into Beau Rivage in Casino Square. It's Barnard who leads from pole position at the front of this race.
Track position really important in this race. It's not like some of the other the Formula E tracks we've been to, which are big, wide open tracks. You can overtake here, but track position, getting ahead of the opposition, will still be critical.
And Taylor Felix Acosta trying to make some ground here from 15th on the grid. That is Nico Müller on his inside. There is Eder Mortara, who is side-by-side with Max Günther in the DS Penske. On the outside there, Dennis getting friendly with Pascal Wehrlein. It's 3 abreast in the middle of the pack there. Someone's going to come up worse for wear, surely, as they go through down into Portier. And somehow they all manage to retain
They're also
their
clean.
front
Kick
wings.
them down to 3rd, down to 4th from 3rd, passed by De Vries.
Surprising, actually, that they're taking such a risk at this stage of the
Edge of
race.
the tunnel.
You know, we
I don't know
this
the way.
is going
I don't
to
know
be
the
a slow
turn
run
name.
the first few laps, and then the strategy will start to come into play. But I guess the theory is, if they're all bunched up and you can get an easy place, go for it. But it's quite a high risk.
So, Tom, as you were saying before, this is the first time we've got pit boost here. So it's a little bit of the journey into the unknown in terms of the strategy. But I think what we'll see now is a little bit of what we call a banking period. I mean,
Roland saying a weird sound in his car. There is something like an
You
off-pitch
can kind of
thing.
hear it, actually.
So maybe
yes,
a cause for concern already for Roland.
when he's
Yeah.
off the throttle pedal on
Like,
the
like,
region, you can hear
which
it, can't
you don't really hear that.
Yeah.
It's usually higher than that.
Exactly. Well, we don't actually know what, if any, of the drive parts they had to change other than the suspension.
Yeah, for those of you misqualifying, Roland crashed down there.
Hi,
at
Rafa.
Saint-Denis.
Hold on. Let
In
me try to
qualifying,
stream.
hit the rear left quite hard, and you know, in the 2 hours they've had in between, they would have had to repair some of it, but
you
maybe
see
there's
it?
some lingering damage.
Yeah, so let's see what happens there for Oliver Rowland. Second he is at the moment. Nick de Vries right behind. Ticton's lost the pace off the start then as they calm it down through and into Mirabeau. Wider line there for Ticton as he looks to the outside. It's so tight in the front of the pack as you can see them all jostling for places. There's Dennis on the outside of Pascal Wehrlein, side by side the Andretti versus the Porsche. A bit of contact
That's
between them, but no harm done.
Brines and Dennis.
manages to hold place.
Yeah, we'll have a look and see. Let's listen into Roland. We've heard him complain. Let's listen off throttle into the chicane here. Yeah, it sounds like something scraping along the ground almost, doesn't it?
He did hit the wall in qualifying, so there might be some damage there.
Axle as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is it's got to be drive related. Can't be any of the suspension parts. So maybe there's something on. Doesn't appear to have any issue on deploying his energy.
So what we're looking at, so just to finish up my point, this is the point where they want to save energy, bank energy. The pace will be a bit slower than what we'll see later on. Then there'll be a point, Tom, around lap 10 or 11, where they'll go for it. They'll absolutely unleash the pace, especially the leaders. We'll see some attack modes, because the pit stop window, we think, is between lap 13 to lap 18. That's where the pit boost will take place, and they'll all have to do the same stop, which takes. Oh, Muller,
Oh,
that's a
Muller
problem.
having a
That's
Nico
not pit boost,
Muller.
Tom. That's a rear right problem there.
Yeah, oh, Müller must have had a puncher or something along the lines of that. That's such a shame for the German driver. And he,
Painfully slow stop as well.
well, he's going to have to be hoping now for a safety car to try and bring him back into some form of contention in this race. He's now back out into the fast lane, but that's a huge disappointment there for him. Look at Sam Bird on the outside of David Beckman, trying to make some moves there in the Neon McLaren as Muller exits the pit lane and it jostles up for position down at the Fairmont hairpin.
I wonder if Muller made contact with Da Costa somewhere, because they were close together on the grid, and I thought I saw a little bit on. Let's have a look at Da Costa's front wing when it comes down. But yeah, so at this stage for Muller, he's got to hope for a safety car, hasn't he?
Yeah, so Barnard just backing the pack up at the
Could
moment. We're
happen.
about
We
10
had a lap
seconds off
one
the pace
wreck
that we
in
saw
Formula 1
qualifying,
here
so
last
it
year.
just gives you an idea of
Hopefully
how
from the
easily
race.
these drivers are
Into an
taking
even
the
more
moment to
boring
reserve
race than
that
it
energy,
usually
keep
is.
it in the bank. When the pit boost window opens, it's between the batteries. Between
Oh, we got to
40
move
to
here.
60%
Well, it looked like a
state
move.
of charge.
Borderline
That's
looked
when
like he
the
might
FIA
try to
will
tee up
open
on
that pit boost window.
Tictum.
Drivers are then
Didn't
free to
quite
come in,
get it
and
done.
They must come in. It's mandatory. They can't skip it whatsoever. They will come to a stop for 34 seconds. Cables plugged into the back. They'll have an extra energy boost in the race. Then
Oh
they can
yeah,
get back
oh
out.
it's
So it does add a
it's
different
pit
element of
boost. It's a
strategy
pit
here
boost
because they can
day,
do attack mode
a race
before
because it's a
or
double header. I
after
forgot
the pit
about
stop. There's
that.
nothing saying they have to do the
So
pit boost
yeah,
stop
they'll
before
get
they do attack
they have
modes.
to do a 34-second pit stop, which will give them extra energy
Great
on top of their attack
on-board
mode.
view there from the driver, all the various information available on his dash, and it's kind of a case of hurry up and wait, isn't it, as they just manage that energy
Well, it's
and
interesting.
try and avoid running into the back of someone.
Well, it's interesting here because no one's going for attack mode early. I was talking down to Dan Tictum on the grid. He said, you just have to wait and see how the race develops. He said, I need to stay up the sharp end of the field in order to be in contention. Let's have a look at the race start then. So Barnard gets an absolute flyer. Rowland chops over on Tictum down to the first corner. And then look at De Vries here on the outside. Wehrlein tries to follow him
That's
through.
the
Dennis
pass
is
I
side by
saw.
side there with Robin Fright. And there's a bit of contact there between
Or
Fright
pointed out.
and Dennis as well.
Yeah, I was trying to say Da Costa was clear of Muller there, so this is Tictum listening. There, he's had to check himself there. He had to back out of it, and that gave De Vries the momentum to come around the outside. So yeah, nothing Tictum could do there, and played it smart, didn't damage his front wing, and
Yeah,
carried
just
on.
got boxed in, so he had no choice, and then that gives a free run for De Vries around the outside.
So Cassidy and Maloney have gone for an early attack mode. Again, if you're new to Formla E, the drivers all need to take attack mode twice. Look at the graphic on the left-hand tower. The two dots indicate how many more they have to take. So as you can see, Cassidy's got only one more after this. They can do it, 8 minutes in total, 4 and 4, 6 and 2, or 2 and 6. And there's the benefit. Look, Cassidy,
Cassidy,
with attack mode.
3 minutes. Oh, so he took 4 minutes. Maloney took 6 minutes.
Copy. Happy to ever consume if you can try to get past.
over-consuming more energy than what your targeted plan is, because getting past, getting track position is going to be vital in this race, and that's what they've done with Cassidy. They've tried to just shuffle him up the pack early on and then sort it out later on.
Well, the lowest grid position that this race has been won from is 9th place, and that was back in 2023 with Nick Cassidy. So he's deciding to pull the card early, and I can't ever blame him, because he's mired right down in the pack after a miserable day so far. Look there at the Andretti of Jake Dennis going to the outside. Pascal Wehrlein again, he is side by side. We were just on board there with Robin Freitz, who's got box office seats of the battle that's unravelling in front of him.
He's tried that a couple of times now, so Wehrlein is wise to the fact that he's trying to launch it around the outside. But Wehrlein's got the upper hand in the front.
It looked like Beckman was trying to see if he can make a move around Eduardo Mortara. That didn't all look unsuccessful, though. Mortar's told he's been doing a good job, which he is. He's led all 4 laps thus far.
Yeah, I think Tictum went across the chicane and he's dropped behind Wehrlein because he had a little look around the outside of De Vries. I'm sure we'll get a replay of it, but now Tictum has dropped the place.
Yeah, you must not gain an advantage when you cut chicanes like that, and the stewards will be coming down like a ton of bricks.
Well, he definitely didn't gain an advantage. He's lost the place. So yes,
he's made sure of that.
He's not only missed the corner, he's hasn't managed
predicted
to
window for pits,
so
laps
predicted
14 to 18.
Laps 14 to 18. That's what our virtual race engineer thinks here. And as we said, one pit stop they must make in this race as they come across the timing line to begin at lap 6. So we're about 8 to 14 laps away from that at the moment.
Cassidy has shown how powerful the attack mode can be, because he's now dragged himself up into the top 10. Bear in mind, he started down in 19th. That attack mode has helped him to really cycle forward. This is the moment I was saying before, Tictum had to cut across the chicane.
Yeah, he was side by side there with De Vries. Let's have a look at it. So we're coming through the tunnel. He's on the outside. He's got the momentum.
Got on the curb, didn't he?
Yeah. And, well, there's nowhere for Tictum to go there, really, is there?
No space. That's all. He's put me on the curb on entry.
Oh, so Tictum got passed by Robin Freitz. Nick Cassidy's up to 8th place off of his attack mode. David Beckman took 4 minutes as well.
7th. Yeah, he's lost 2 more. So something else has happened, and he's gone from 5th to 7th.
That goes to show how tight the racing is and what a difference it can make. This is the difference that 4-wheel drive and attack mode can make. Cassidy's just about to come to the end of that one here as he comes through into the chicane, and he's right on the back here of Jake Dennis. So he cycled his way through from the mid-teens of this race right up to 6th place now, but he'll pay for that later. So it's all going to balance out as Cassidy now is out of attack mode. He's back in 2-wheel drive. He's back at 300 kilowatts of power in this one.
Yeah, and what will happen when you use attack mode, you also use more energy. So he will have to spend a few laps now just banking and saving some energy and just trying to put some back in the tank. But I think that's worked out reasonably okay for him, because he can kind of now go maybe for an early stop and you make the benefit of that track position.
Yeah, now they're in a position, if there's something unusual with safety car, virtual safety car, who knows, red flag, then yes, the others will still have their attack mode, but he still has one more.
Nick has gained quite a few positions with his attack. Looks more powerful than expected. Green code, please, green code.
So first on look at the energy.
Oh!
Tictum shunts his way up.
Damn, Tictum, that was a hardy, that was a rough defense of 7th place for Dan Tictum.
Position, but now it's our first chance to look
pretty sure they touched the wheels there.
So far, Barnard on 76, Roland on 78. Cassidy, though, he's been in attack mode, and as you can imagine, he's expended more energy, so he's got less than the other drivers in that group at the front.
But that's okay. It'll balance off when they have to use attack mode. So that just illustrates, doesn't it, that extra 1.5%. That comes from having more performance, as we see Buemi versus Fern, 2 old hands in the championship battling further down the pack. 18th and 19th for them, both former champions, of course. Tictum down the inside.
That's not going to work, surely. Gets his nose.
Oh, good. They're side by side. Tictum makes the move.
Tictum's got the line covered off, though. Holds firm in 8th place, for 7th place for now as they come across the timing line. They're side by side.
Leaderboard's still broken
He's
then?
going to want to get the hurry up here. Beckman's in attack mode behind there as well. In the second of the Cupra Kiros, he is wing mirror to wing mirror with Edo Mortaro. Will have better traction on the exit thanks to 4-wheel drive. Up the rise of Sandoval we go. And you wonder what David Beckman is going to be able to do then.
I
Here in
got
this
almost got
race.
the
Our
cars
virtual
confused.
race engineer reckons a 4-minute split is the most
So,
efficient at this
most of the
stage
drivers
in
have seen
the
have taken
race.
4 minutes.
So Barnard
Big
back.
Hughes
Takes
about.
a
Ooh,
Oh,
took them,
I thought
lost
he was
quite
gonna
a
get
few
his nose
spots
card
there.
He's left invulnerable here to Evans, who's now got the outside line, which will turn into the
Ooh.
inside line down into Mirabeau. Ticton's really holding firm on the outside. Is he going to
Okay,
manage
he
to
did not
retain
lose the
that place
position.
still
It's close,
against Mitch
or-
Evans? And somehow he does.
He held on
good
to
fair
the
racing, I
7th.
have to say. They both, all three of those drivers, both Jaguars and Ticton, gave each other room.
Just over 1% down on energy compared to Roland and De Vries. ISO to Verline and Dennis, no concerns.
Right.
Keeping the driver informed in the picture as to where he is, and I guess, well, you'd rather be one ahead than one behind.
Got a yellow flag down at turn 8. That's on the exit of Portier in the tunnel. So I wonder if there's some debris on track, maybe following some contact down the order. We'll wait and see what happens. If it's debris, if it's in a dangerous place, they might throw a safety car, but the yellow flag is now removed. There's a slippery service flag that's then soon cleared here as well, but it's now come back on. So we'll keep an eye out and see how this is going to develop. Yeah.
Oh, we got it's one of the Maseratis.
That's
It's Van.
taking the wall.
Oh no, no.
It is Antonio Felix da
It's
Costa
Costa, damn it.
out of the
It
race
was
in spectacular
purple.
style.
Yeah,
It's
so
gonna be
Antonio
a
Felix
corner.
da
No doubt
Costa.
about it. Safety car, that changes the complexion of this race completely.
Damn.
I'm not sure there's even a crane in that area of the track. It's such an unusual place. So it may be more than a safety car. We'll send them
No,
down
we
to
have
pit
our
lane
last place
because their last
finisher, the
corner
number
will be blocked.
13. Definitely unlucky today. The driver who won the most races last year. Yes, I believe it was his first DNF of the
Getting
year.
tyres ready in the pit lane there for da Costa, but he's going nowhere in that one. You can see quite clearly front right suspension absolutely buckled as Evans goes to the outside.
Oh, look at that 2x2 with the two Jaguars, Jake Dennis, and
2, 1, full course yellow.
picked them. All right, full FCY, full course
Oh,
yellow.
that's tight. That is tight between the Jags and Dan Tickton there.
Yeah.
And he'll try and argue that he was ahead going into Portier.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an argument there between the teams to see who's more persuasive.
Look at this.
Fair line.
This is like when you're at an average speed camera on the motorway, isn't it? And you're waiting for it to go back to national speed limit.
Except when they get to the chicane, there's only one line through there, or room for one. So what are they going to do then?
Well, Taylor Barnard it is that leads then. So the race is neutralised effectively with this full course yellow.
Attention everyone, just please keep the left-hand side at the T19 section.
So da Costa back in the pack at the moment. So he's got Buemi, I think, on the inside going into the final couple of No, he's in fact a bit further up. 3 into 1 just doesn't go. And da Costa biting off a bit more than he could chew there.
Yeah, that was a lunge on Nato, was it?
I think it was
One of
Montoya.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Oh,
Montoya
that was an
Beckman,
almost
he
turn
tried
for
to
the other,
that.
I think, for Beckman.
A little bit desperate, I think, to try and make that work.
A low percentage move.
pushed me to the wall. Yeah, copy.
The problem
No,
is
he
Montaro
didn't
was
have a
making his
space.
own
He did
overtaking
not have
attempts
the
on
space.
Beckman.
You can just about, if you're lucky.
We've been
and well
expecting
behaved,
you,
get two
Mr. da
cars through there.
Costa.
3 was never going to work, was it?
No.
Unfortunately, yeah, he would have had to bail out of that.
Yeah,
really.
he didn't have enough of his car alongside on that particular corner to say that he was squeezed into the wall. That wall was going to come and meet him under normal racing conditions.
So what will happen now is drivers will be saving energy. They'll put the cars into a different power mode, essentially, to conserve as much energy as they can in this race. And this is going to change attack mode strategies. It's going to change pit boost strategies. Drivers who maybe would have planned to come in early in pit boost are now waiting. We've got Maloney into the box there as well. Not sure what that's all about. Let's have another look at da Costa's attempt on the inside. I'll be very surprised if Beckman hasn't got some suspension damage from his clatter into the barrier there. Let's have a look. Front wing damage, yeah.
2 hits as well. Left rear, and then his front gets a whack as well.
I think that would have compromised Freins as well, because he was, Buemi, because he was in attack mode at that point.
And I think I saw one of the Maseratis missing a front wing as well. Might have been Hughes. I just saw a flash by. What's going on here?
Yeah,
Got it really right.
technical problem, isn't it? So
Is it serving a time penalty?
No, it's
right.
change of tyre then, isn't it? Or are they checking something on the rear powertrain for Maloney? Let's hope that this is brief stop and he can get back out in the race, but they're not exactly hurrying here in the Lola Yamaha at garage at the moment, are they? Let's have a look at Beckman's point of view of what happened at that final corner. We ride on board with him. So at the moment, he's going to have Mortara on his inside, who in turn has got DaCosta with him. Wallop.
Yeah. For that corner, for that profile, you can't treat it like every other right-hand corner. It's so different that to try and lunge there is just, you know, you're rolling the dice. It's like going into the casino and putting everything on, I hope we're running 2 6s.
Cassidy's way down, isn't he? Much more than he was after that first attack mode. After the first attack mode, he was only 1.5% down.
Yeah.
But in this whole thing of racing against Tictum and Evans, it seems like he's dropped another 1.5% or 2% away.
Okay, so let's have a look and see. I'm surprised they've not thrown a full safety car for this one, because we've been under full course yellow for quite some time. But what this does is it neutralises the race. So the cars are all circulating around now at the same speed, but it means that the gaps all stay at a constant between the other drivers.
Oh, so virtual
Right, here we
safety
go.
car.
Here's a crane.
Yeah, so they've got a sort of digger that goes out on the track to pick up. Seems to take them quite a while to actually scoop it off the ground.
Yeah. And this place is amazing, isn't it? They are normally the quickest at recovering cars out of the way.
Yeah.
A lot of experience, of course, of people hitting barriers. But I think one thing, Tom, that is good and is not going to create confusion is none of those energy numbers, apart from Cassidy, look close to the pit stop window. So we're not going to have the chaos of people all trying to pit under, and there's chaos in the pit lane. So yeah, that is good. I'm trying to see one of the second Maserati. So I think that is Van Dorn is the lead Maserati.
Yeah,
His
he
front
is.
wing is okay.
So must be Hughes
We'll
there.
get a shot.
DaCosta back to the garage. And the man who was second in the championship going into the first race of the weekend here in Monte Carlo, if it carries on as it is, he'll be losing not only that, but possibly another position to Taylor Barnard in the Drivers' Championship. Still plenty of this race left to go. And given the fact that we've been under full course yellow for quite a long period of time, over 4 minutes and 15 seconds is the minimum to add laps on.
There's the Hughes front wing I was talking about.
Yeah. So that's come off, just coming out of the swimming pool, and the marshal running to its rescue.
So he's obviously run into someone else earlier, hasn't he, Hughes? So,
Well, he was starting down the final row of the grid. There's more debris here at the swimming pool as well.
Well, we're going to get at least one added lap, aren't we?
At a minimum, yeah. No doubt about it. Possibly a couple here, which again will change the complexion of the race. And I wonder whether the stewards will be having a look at Hughes' car, because the front wings, in terms of an aerodynamic perspective, they're not actually that important in Formula E, but there is also a safety element to consider in the racing as well, and they might have a look at that and possibly give them a black and orange flag to say that the car's not safe and they must come in and put a new front wing on it. So lap 11 out of 29 we are on, still under full course yellow with the race being neutralised. Drivers that have taken attack mode include Nick Cassidy, David Beckman, Sebastian Buemi, Jake Hughes and Zane Maloney. Everybody else, they've still got 2 attack mode deployments available in this race, and everybody still owes 1 pit boost.
We're still looking mid-track.
Okay.
Still looking mid-track, but this
everyone.
can change quite a bit based on the consumption.
Full course yellow ending in 5, 4,
Here we go.
3, 2.
So full course yellow ends then, the green flag flies on lap 11, and look at that opportunist for Jake Dennis as he goes through on 2 drivers.
De Vries was asleep. De Vries was completely asleep there, and Wehrlein tried to have a look, but it was Dennis who took full advantage of it and gained up into 3rd place.
That's amazing that he would miss that, because it's not like his engineer's telling him, it's the clerk of the course that's on the radio. So unless he had communication issues and he just didn't hear it.
Look at Van Dorn going head-to-head with Bird here as well. Hughes just in front of him. Keep an eye out as well for Lucas Di Grassi in the blue and yellow Lola Yamaha out, because he is in attack mode. Took that as soon as the race restarted and will be cycling his way up the order here as they come through Portier.
I think Hughes has gained on that restart as well, just like Dennis, because he was 2 behind Van Dorn. He's now gained 2 places. So again, looks like some drivers caught napping on the restart, but not Taylor Barnard, still up in the lead.
So through into back we go. Barnard, Roland, Dennis, that's your top three. De Vries down to 4th place and Verline in 5th position. That's the advantage of being a bit further down the order. Look at Roland trying on the inside.
Wow, he skipped the chicane. Barnard's going to have to give up the spot.
That's going to cost Roland potentially some momentum and maybe a possibility at track position
Unless,
here too.
Well, unless he does.
Yeah, that's
unless he was
definitely
pushed
good
off.
to see that again, because he had enough of his car alongside, I believe, to claim the corner. Was always, it's a little bit like Anthony Noakes. It's only ever going to end in tears if the other car tries to take the turn.
Yeah, but I think you've got a point. Are the stewards going to look at it and go, hang on, he cut the chicane and stayed in front? So will Barnard be asked to give that place up?
Dennis is under
investigation. I thought I was streaming.
Overspeeding under a full course yellow, so did he mistime it instead?
Oh, so maybe he went early and not the others caught napping.
We'll wait and see what happens there, but that's come up on our timing screen here in the commentary box, and I'm sure that the message will be being relayed to him as well. Ticks him on the outside then here of the Jaguar of Nick Cassidy. Trying to go through on the inside to the Fairmont hairpin. Crunch
I guess Barnard will get to hold on to his spot.
De Vries gets a clatter on the back in 4th as well.
Ticked him still the sandwich. He's still the meat in the sandwich of the two Jaguars there. No. So they've all had to go around the hairpin, but I think he was still behind Cassidy and in front of Evans.
Roland trying again. He goes to the inside. Trying to send it into the New Bell chicane.
Here we go, and Barnard again takes to the escape road.
Slam dunk, he's gained advantage, he's got to give the place now.
Barnard has to give up the lead.
He's responded to that.
So Roland hits the front for the first time in this race, going through on
lead
the inside.
change on lap 12.
Into back then, and Dennis sniffs an opportunity then here. He's under investigation for overspeeding under the full course yellow. And now the pace is starting to pick up as this race enters a new
Here comes Dennis trying to send it around the outside of Barnard. Can't do it.
Can he make it work? Not quite through there. What about Anthony Noakes? Nothing doing for Dennis at the moment. This is getting tight and frantic at the sharp end of this race.
So what's happened is Roland is thinking we're getting close to the pit window. So he's upped the pace. He's gone for it. Now, which one of these drivers thinks about attack mode? Will they go for it to try and open up a gap? In Jeddah, this is what Roland did. Took the lead, went for an early attack, opened the gap before the pit stop. Does he do the same here?
Well, by the time the pit stops have worked out, he had about a 4-second advantage, if you remember. Yep. But then he ran out of energy because of a miscalculation.
None of them doing it. They're all avoiding it.
I think he would like to see a little bit more.
So Dennis trying to make a move. Looks like he's trying to go to the inside as they head to that chicane. That didn't work in Canada either, though.
There was a couple of seconds.
Yeah, about a second and a half is what the teams think it will be with time loss.
Ticks him again, looking on Cassidy into the hairpin for the outside line, trying to switch it for the inside down the hill. But again, I think it's just a little bit too far away for the Briton at the moment. On board, we ride here then with Jake Dennis through the tunnel. 7th in the Drivers' Championship, as you can see, winless since Saudi Arabia in 2024. He would love to get Andretti back onto the top step of the podium at this, one of the most sought-after race victories of the season. Let's have a look then at Dennis's restart after the full course yellow. He's under investigation for this at the
lights on the steering wheel. Keep watching the lights, because they'll go out when it goes green, presumably. Yes. I think he's okay.
Yeah.
I think he went when the lights went off.
100%.
So,
and the speed of light, pretty quick.
Well, good reactions there for Jake Dennis. We come across the timing line, so we're now entering that pit boost window. It would be slightly later,
lap
I'd imagine,
14. Yeah, this is the
Cassidy's in though.
He's straight in, isn't he, for that pit boost stop. He's got one attack mode deployment remaining in this race as well.
So the recharge process where you add
recommended.
10% of
Oh, we have
energy.
someone going in for pit boost, Nick Cassidy.
The recharge is about 34 seconds, but you lose about 55 seconds in total by doing a stop. There's the graphic. Cassidy recharging.
Nico Muller also on pit road for his boost.
Really, because of the problems he had at the start.
Trouble drivers taking attack mode. Robin Frines and Norman Nato.
So we're already at the halfway stage of this one. And look at this, concertinaing up. A dive on the inside there for Max Günther, who's missing part of his front wing. He was looking for 12th on Sebastian Buemi. I don't think he was quite able to make that stick through there.
So the graphic next to Muller indicates he is in the window now. So he's not in the pits, but if he wanted to pit, he could, because his energy level is below 60%.
Yellow flag. I saw that. Oh, that's what I said. I saw F full course yellow on the leaderboard.
Mitch Evans
the number 9 Jaguar, Mitch Evans, motionless on track, or the engines died or something.
it's a case of computer says no for the Kiwi. If he can't get that going, we could face another safety car or full-course yellow situation.
And we'll start to see drivers in the pit window here, so this could be...
Everyone, attention on this is list control. We go full-course yellow in 3, 2,
Virtual safety
1,
car
full-course yellow.
full course yellow.
Another full-course yellow then for a second
So they
time
must
in this race.
maintain
Drivers
speed.
must slow down, they must not overtake, and Mitch Evans' race comes to a premature conclusion following a technical problem. That's a huge shame for Jaguar at a race where they've
Also
a lot of
sucks for the
support here this
three
weekend.
drivers
And
on a
Paul's
boost.
benefited because he was the only one in the,
Robin
in that
Fine,
state of
Norman
charge
Nano,
below
Nick Cassidy.
60%.
Oh, we got a
that
car
allows him to pit,
on
so
for
he's
pit
going to
boost.
lose much less time.
Nico Muller.
And actually could bring him back into play here.
Well, that's exactly what we were talking about. He needed something like a safety car, like full-course yellow at the right time. And could this be an opportunity for Nico Muller to try and
Boemi?
It's just the luck of the racing guards, isn't it, when that happens? When
Boemi's is not
But he's missed. Boemi's missed his pit box.
It's not a pit, it's not a stop, it's changing a rear tyre. I think he's got a puncture.
Oh, right.
So Boemi's race then coming undone here as well.
Full-course yellow ending in 5,
Well, that was fast.
3,
really slow getaway.
green flag.
Race to the exit of the pit lane as the green flag flies, and racing gets back underway then here in Monaco, and you can see a lot of drivers now in the pit boost window. Roland going for attack mode on the restart then.
I think that's a smart move. I think now with the pit boost window opening, Roland wants free air with extra power and speed. This is exactly what he did to tactical brilliance in Jeddah. I think he's gone for the same move. We'll see if it works out, because Barnard's got great pace, as we saw through qualifying as well.
The attack mode zone has actually been moved about 7 metres earlier on in the corner, so I wonder whether Roland, because he was really close when the race resumed from full course yellow back to green, whether he was just in the right place at the right time. Maybe Barnard was just a couple of metres too far to possibly activate it.
Yeah, we're going to get to see very visibly the offset in performance. They'll not be able to do anything
Roland
through
did
swimming
take
pool.
attack mode.
There's
We put
chicane,
Taylor Barnard back
maybe
on up
into
front.
Rascasse.
Well, look at this though, David, because you've got all of the drivers but Roland in the pit boost window as well.
Pit window colour question.
Wonder
So
how
Roland
long
there looking for the
Barnard can hold
outside
up.
line,
Roland,
shows the
Roland side by
inside
side.
line.
Get cut off, and Anthony knows.
He'll get him now.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, but that's cost them
We're
both
side by
a little
side
bit
to
of
start
time
finish
in that
line.
battle for the group behind.
Roland takes the lead.
Hits the front with four-wheel drive and 350 kilowatts of power into the box. Comes Edo Mortara for Mahindra there.
Oh, look at here's Brian trying to get around
29
line.
seconds of attack mode remaining and looking to try and challenge 5th place against Pascal Berline up the hill.
Watch Roland now. This is where he's going to unleash the pace. And De Vries has gone for
Vries
it.
goes
So Nick De
attack
Vries is
mode.
4th place. He's gone for the early attack as well. Let's see how much of a gap Roland can open up before the stop.
Mortara getting his pit stop.
Pit boost for Mortara then. And he now will come out of the pit lane and resume his race. So he will of course be out of sync compared to everybody else, but Mortara has still got 2 attack mode deployments remaining, whereas others who are up the road in front of him have got 1 left. So that might come to pay into the Swiss driver's favour later on in this race. The Porsche of Pascal Berline.
Well.
Roland immediately 9 times quicker on that first sector,
I
taking
think that was
advantage of
Maybe it was huge.
the extra performance.
It was a purple car. Anyway, Maserati Porsche screwed me up again.
As Jean-Eric Verne, so he's coming out.
That was Van Dorn. Okay. I forgot what car wrecked, so I forgot that Van Dorn was still in the race.
When you know a driver has taken their pit boost, they don't owe it for the remainder of the race. What about Barnard? He's in, as well as Jake Dennis following through.
Confirm.
Frein's also in the box as
so
well.
Frein,
So the
Dennis,
game that
Van
Barnard
Dorn,
and Dennis are
Barnard
play
going for pit
is they've
boost.
not taken any attack mode now. So they're going to get a top-up of energy, an extra 10% of energy, but they will have 2 attack modes to try and overtake Roland later on. So they've gone for effectively the contra strategy. Roland's trying to make the gap now. They'll use 1 to catch him, and then try and get past at that point as well.
The risk with that, though, as we saw in Miami, is if you wait too late for the attack modes, you get a yellow flag, a red flag even, you're not able to use it all to the end of the race, you will be hit with a penalty. So it's a riskier game to play, but it could pay great dividends there for them. We see Edo Mortara making his way through the swimming pool chicane. We see Jake Dennis exiting the pit lane as well as Taylor Barnard. Those 2 entered nose to tail with one another. Freint's also coming out of the box as well. And Roland is now coming to the end of his attack mode.
Yeah, he's not that far ahead of De Vries and Verline, who are both in attack as well, but they've got more than a minute extra to play with. So
this is the key moment here, though. But look at Mortara, because he has managed to make hay whilst the sun shines here with a bit of clear track, and he's in attack mode here as well. So he's going to be able to pick these drivers off that are coming out of the pit lane. He gets fright coming up the hill into Casino Square. So that's worked out nicely there for him. What does Roland do in retaliation? He's just coming to the end of his attack mode. Does he dive into the pit lane at the end of this one?
Nope.
No. Goes round again. He's just trying to use the clear track at the moment, isn't he? Jaguar at the moment 13th for Nick Castin, but we saw Mitch Evans' race coming to an early conclusion after what seemed to be a technical problem. Saunders, you're down in pit lane. What has James got to say?
James Barkley, tell us what's happened, because we've seen the yellow flag come out and the full course yellow for Mitch Evans. What was the issue?
Well, we need to get to the bottom. It looks like we've had a cut in the powertrain, which has been recycled, and it's fine again. We don't know why Mitch couldn't basically get the car going again, but it is now. So just really unfortunate, and unfortunately that timing really hurt us with Nick, because he took his attack mode. He was in a great position, had a drive his life up to that sixth position, was in a really strong place, and unfortunately that yellow flag which we caused has just really hurt Nick. So it's brutal. It's brutal.
I have eyes peeled for the rest of the race. Thanks, James.
Thanks.
So Oliver Rowland will be into the box at the end of this lap. We just heard that on team radio. A shame for Mitch Evans as well. That technical problem thwarting him. Here's a bit of a stalemate you've got going on between two drivers in attack mode at the moment. Nick De Vries in
Vries and Vorline. That's second and third. About a second. Looks like about a second behind Oliver Rowland. Well, I can check the leaderboard.
Has meant that the gap is now
the leaderboard again. The leaderboard is ahead of.
The key is when these drivers come into pit.
I'm not looking at it. Leaderboard is for
the ones
everyone else.
Are Barnard and who's the next one behind him would be Dennis, wouldn't it?
It would.
But I tell you, the one who's gained is Nico Muller.
All right,
don't
three
forget.
cars
Muller
in.
has pitted. Muller's actually
Roland
effectively ahead of Barnard and Dennis, isn't he?
What?
Because he's already pitted.
It's worked out really
under the full course yellow. So actually, Nico Muller
is
going to be in a great position.
Hey, because he got his pit boot under safety car, under yellow, and that was after he had to pit early.
With the 10% increase. You're still launching just as a two-wheel, or you're launching as a four-wheel. I'm just trying to figure out, they've all, okay, two-wheel.
And you got both attack modes as well.
The pit lane here. So, in theory...
yeah, but watch Muller, David. This is where it gets interesting. Nico Muller could end up in the net lead because of that full course yellow pit stop.
But Muller has never won in Formula E. He's passed them.
For Nico Muller as he cycles his way to the front of this race. The two drivers that are in front of him, David Beckman and Jake Hughes, have not yet taken their pit boost window.
Muller has a decent lead.
Worked beautifully here for Nico Muller. It's fallen into his hands.
Yeah, absolutely.
How did that happen?
Full course yellow at the right moment. As you see, there's Dennis and there's De Vries.
Yeah.
No, Mortara, sorry. Yeah, they're all coming through. There's Mortara, there's him going past Verline. But Muller's, from having that puncture, or the tyre issue, whatever it was in the opening lap, dropping back. But having that full course yellow means he's gained about 30, 40 seconds on everybody and just jumped ahead of the leaders.
Yeah, it's worked out really nicely there for Nico Muller. He is very much in the pound seats. Let's see how the race works out. No confirmation of any added laps at the moment. Nose to tail we are here on board.
We can save more. Nico, we can save more.
I suppose the problem there for Nico is that we did see on the energy earlier on he had overspent compared to everybody else, but if he's got enough in his back pocket, he can now just back off the pace a little bit, recoup that energy, because he wasn't running in the pack whereas everybody else was.
So Muller is 13 seconds ahead of Roland. So
Here's the front, who will probably take the lead, Nico Muller.
10 seconds out of that and save some energy and get it back in the tank. So in terms of the state of play at the moment, just to kind of recap, we think Cassidy is not pitted yet, has he? Oh, no,
he has.
So he's the other one who's actually up.
Yeah, the only driver that hasn't is Mitch Evans, who managed to get going there by the looks of things, because it says he's in the pit lane at the moment.
So Cassidy, did Cassidy benefit as well under... No, he pitted early, didn't he?
But the problem is,
yes.
Wait, is Beckman missing part of his wing?
Everybody else around him has still got one.
No, but I'm just explaining
attack
how
mode for
Cassidy
Muller,
ended up in
his
second
first
place,
one.
because in terms of track position, he was in
There's
that
Cassidy.
window early. He
Not
hit
on
it
attack mode.
before the full course
He's actually
and
out
then
of
he's
attack
gained
mode.
track position back.
Okay, under consumption, target needs to be 5.1. Confirm. We need to achieve target 5.1.
And now everyone's pitted. This is a straight race for track position. Muller in the lead, Cassidy second, and then it's the lead pack is now effectively third, fourth, fifth, sixth.
Yeah, you would expect Cassidy to be a bit of a sitting duck as soon as the other drivers behind go into their attack mode. You can see from third down to ninth, everybody has got at least one attack mode deployment remaining. And Cassidy, I think, has also spent a bit more energy compared to those around him. We saw earlier on as well that he had over-consumed, so he might have to save a little bit towards the end of this race just to compound those problems.
So Cassidy obviously has used both his attack modes.
Copy. So 5.1 for the attack mode laps, or you have to get the overall target down?
The overall target down to 5.1. Overall target down to 5.1.
And he's now got Cassidy all over the back of him there. So Cassidy is only, he's right behind Muller. And, well, we'll see when the energy numbers come up how much less he has of the energy itself. But what does this pack do, David, now? Because they are 7 seconds behind. We know they've got more pace because, you know, they've generally shown it through the weekend. That's a big chunk of time to try and catch up.
Yeah, it is a large amount of time, but I think underlying pace-wise, they are quicker than Cassidy and Muller.
So I think,
can they take enough out of them?
I think Cassidy's going to just go, well, I mean, he's clearly on the back of Nico Muller here. Muller's going to have to let him go, surely, at some point. I mean, I know he's in attack mode at the moment, and that gap's going to increase, but the problem is that he's now going to be over-consuming even more, Nico Muller, spending more
Too
of
much
that
energy
that he's then going to have
used
to
up.
recoup later. We know that Cassidy's going to have to do the same, but he's then going to be vulnerable. I mean, look at
Whoa.
how Cassidy's got 9% less energy compared to those around him, so he's going to be a sitting duck at the end of this one.
Never mind. So Muller can let Cassidy get by,
because he's still pushing
and then he'll pass him by later because Cassidy is he's 8% energy lower than Muller, 25% less relative to now, and basically the whole field.
Cassidy is right behind you. We need to stay ahead to defend position.
But does he need to stay ahead, though? That's the question I've got, because he's got so much less energy, Cassidy. He's going to have to lift off before the end of this race.
Yeah, especially with 2 added laps is what we expect to see with the amount of full course yellows we've seen. So
Unsafe release for Degrassi under investigation.
I'm not sure. I have a feeling Muller's racing Roland, and that gap is coming down, though. It was 7.4. It's now 5 seconds, so that gap is coming down.
Just to get Muller's is an energy-saving mode.
Yeah, I mean, 132.9 for him last time around. Roland at 130.5, so significant difference in the lap times, and he's taken a big chunk out of him just last time around as De Vries goes in for his final attack mode deployment. Dennis behind has still got 1 remaining. So 4 minutes then for De Vries, and he should be able to, in theory, power away from him. So this has been quite detrimental to Taylor Barnard's race victory opportunities. All of the the jumbling up of the pattern, of the order, I should say, in this race, following the full course yellows and the pit boost.
Watch Roland. Roland is all over the back of Cassidy. I think Cassidy's now got the message that you're 8-9% down on energy.
Now Beckman under investigation for a pit boost infraction on pit road.
Roland now, he's there, isn't he? He's within a second of Cassidy. In fact, he's gotten ahead of Cassidy, I think. Yes, down at the chicane. So Oliver Roland now up into second place, and only 3 seconds, so it's less than half the deficit, or more than half the deficit to Nico Muller in the lead.
Yeah, well, the one thing for Roland, for De Vries, Dennis, Barnard, etc., all that are close behind.
Yeah, with Roland, 5 seconds. We need to stay 2.5 seconds ahead of Roland, and we will concatenate attack. Currently 4.3 with Roland. 4.3 with Roland.
De Vries looking to the outside of Cassidy into Sander Vogt, can't get his way through there, but he's got better traction and a lot more power up the hill. This will be easy pickings then for De Vries as he elevates himself up into the podium places. But the problem is Muller surely is going to be vulnerable here at the end of the race. He goes into attack mode then for this final deployment of 4 minutes.
Right.
He's now going to have a pace advantage over Oliver Rowland, but has he got enough energy left to be able to run the rest of this race flat out, or is he going to have
the leaders,
to back off?
so Roland's caught up to Muller. The two are running pretty close to each other. 1-2. De Vries is right behind in third. Nico Muller and Nick De Vries are taking their final attack mode.
When that last traffic came out, he's done a couple of laps. That's all you need.
Roland still has one attack mode, though.
Good at recharging the battery. If you do just a couple of slow
There are
laps,
other drivers,
which he's done.
Jake Dennis, Tosca Varline, Taylor Barnard, Max Gunther, Eduardo Matara, also on their final attack mode. We have, on paper, 7 to go, perhaps as many as 9 to go, though.
Another 5 cars from 5th down to 9th, all in attack mode.
Muller there out of shape into the chicane. It allows Rowland to close up. De Vries there in the background. He's in attack mode. So Rowland's the meat in the sandwich here, and he's just got to try and keep himself ahead of the Mahindra, whilst he's got 2-wheel drive and 50 kilowatts less power underneath his right foot. Across the timeline we go. Cassidy's going to be under threat from Dennis, Verline and Barnard, all of whom are in attack mode. And we know that Cassidy has overconsumed his energy, so he's going to have to back off. So we'll be out of a fight for victory in this race. Up the top of the hill we go. Muller
It's a train now.
Now De Vries into second. At
De Vries, De Vries makes the pass for second.
Roland's going to lose the places right now, but then when he gets his final attack mode,
it'll be open season for Roland.
They'll all be spent.
But the risk, though, is if he does that, and then you get a safety car, you get a red flag like we had in Miami, which is probable here in Monaco. You might not be able to use all of that attack mode to the end. Look at Barnard there on the outside of Verline. Side by side they go.
Oh, no! Barnard with contact from Verline into the wall of the chicane. No!
You see that? Let's see. He's trying to get out of it. There we go. Well, as you were just saying about safety car, that's the risk, isn't it? That Nissan are playing as different.
Oh no! Barnard out.
He's into the lead. Is Nick De Vries then here?
De Vries takes the lead.
17 seconds of attack mode remaining. Muller is in the pound seat, and Dennis as well coming through. So I wonder, could we see the two Andrettis possibly trying to work together here? They've got relatively similar amounts of attack mode remaining, and will we see the two teammates working in unison in the closing stages of this race?
I think Roland needs to go for attack fairly soon, because everyone's getting a bit more feisty.
All right, De Vries is out of attack mode. To Andretti. Here comes Dennis to the outside.
He's got Cassidy behind him. He's having to lift off as the two Andrettis change places down the start-finish straight.
Dennis takes
Cassidy's
the second place.
Buffer.
And Mortara's there now.
Yeah, Mortara's just gone through, hasn't he?
Mortara.
Cassidy's creating a nice gap there for Roland.
That looked like a team agreement because they're both in attack mode, and Dennis was able to overtake very easily.
Both cars are at 1 more lap.
Roland takes his attack mode, goes to 5th.
The gap and go track clear.
Got
So
4
Roland
minutes.
does go for his final attack mode deployment.
Yeah, but he's dropped behind Mortara. That was not ideal for him, because Mortara has still got another 46 seconds to
Mahindra,
go.
Andretti, Mahindra.
For Roland, because he needs to get through this pack if he wants to win this race. But Dennis, this is Dennis's opportunity down in the chicane, Tom.
Here we go then. On board we ride with Nick De Vries, and he slips an opportunity.
Let's see if Dennis will get the run as they head to the Nouvelle chicane. No. By the way, Mahindra Racing has not won a Formula E race since 2019.
To the inside as we come into back, and Dennis has to back out of a potential overtake.
Actually, no. They haven't won since 2021.
It's a bit of a sitting duck because he has got two-wheel drive compared to the four-wheel drive of Dennis, but he's come
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Dennis is out of attack mode. Mortara is out of attack mode. Roland now has 3 minutes.
Attack mode to go now. This
Probably 2 laps
for
Roland to try and get around. Roland to third.
Yeah, this is going to be well for Oliver Rowland. He's pulled this one out of the bag. 4 laps to go then here at Monaco, and it's anybody's guess as to who is going to be the victor. We come up the hill and Oliver Rowland muscles his way
Roland the second.
on the Andretti and goes into second place. Brilliant stuff from Oliver Rowland. The strategy so far is working out perfectly for the Briton.
Yeah, and he's still got 2.5 minutes, so he will get 2 laps, basically, nearly 2 laps of attack mode. He can just be patient. He can pick his moment to get past De Vries and then just save the energy.
Barnard did get going again, but
we
man,
think there'll
that
be one
sucked.
added lap based on the time we've had of full course yellows. But yeah, what's Roland now? coming through into Portier, out of Portier, into the tunnel. This is it. We're looking back from Nick de Vries.
Here comes Roland.
50 kilowatts more power, four-wheel drive.
Looking for a move in the tunnel. He darts. He goes to the outside. He makes the pass and enters the Nouvelle Chicane as the race leader. We're still with 2 minutes of attack mode.
And up through into the race lead. He's got enough amount of energy left as well.
I need Nico to get his little bits out.
Yeah, copy. And that's what we were saying about the Andretti's. Are they going to be able to work together? They're sort of falling out of distance at the moment. Muller's got a little bit more energy compared to Dennis, but I don't know if it's going to matter too much.
Yeah, but they've not played the game well there at Andretti, because Muller was way
5-second time penalty for Jake Dennis for going too fast under the virtual safety car.
That we saw earlier on. So
I don't know if that was on that restart. It might have been somewhere else, because the restart looked okay to me, but it might have been somewhere else. Anyway, 5 seconds, that's going to take him off the podium, isn't it? Because
puts Muller back in for that podium.
From where he is now into 7th place.
Yeah, it's quite a detriment there for Jake Dennis. What a shame for his race to come undone. And well, what he's going to have to do is get Nico to get his elbows out, as he was saying on the team radio a few moments ago, create a gap back and try to salvage a result for that team. But I don't know if there's anything that Nico is going to be able to do. The thing he can hope for is that Mortara and Wehrlein behind are going to start squabbling amongst one another and keep the German driver in the Andretti out of it.
Yeah, exactly that. That's what they need, isn't it? They need Muller to go as slow as possible to just open up the gap and just give Dennis as big a margin as they can, because I don't think he'll end up at 5 seconds unless Muller's, I don't know, magically hits a button to widen the car twice as much.
So down in towards the chicane we go. Dennis sniffs an opportunity of second place on the road, but will it be second place once the checkered flag falls? One added lap then in this race from 29 up to 30, and what a dramatic conclusion it is turning out to be. And once again, in all of the drama that has unfolded, Oliver Rowland is pulling it out of the bag in the Nissan. He is coming to the end of his attack mode deployment, but he's managed to cycle his way through, and he's now got a 2.1 second buffer over the two behind of de Vries.
Right.
And
One extra
Dennis
lap, so we have 4 to go.
So far for Oliver Rowland as he seeks his second victory on the streets of Monte Carlo.
So Dennis now, with a gap that's opened up, would drop into 6th place between Wehrlein and Gunther. So we'll see.
So 3 laps to go. You can reduce the duty cycle of the gearbox. So you
Wait, Roland has never won at Monaco.
3 laps.
It's a nice message.
I don't know where they got that
you
from.
can take it easy on the gearbox, and you've got enough of a gap in your pocket to be able to do so. Not often you hear team radio messages like that in Formula E.
So Mahindra ending up with a good haul of points here. They should get 2nd and 4th once Dennis's penalties applied.
Might get 3rd to pass
we'll
Muller.
see, but Muller's still holding up the pack there. He's still, I'm sure they've sent a message out on the radio.
3 to
him
go.
To keep holding up the pack.
Yeah, Muller, as you said, having to make that Andretti as wide as he possibly can with 2.5 laps remaining.
Nick
Incidentally, for Nick de Vries, this would be his first podium since London.
Having to slow down that much to
not
to make sure he can finish the race is way out of the point.
Mortara, I should say, rather looks to the inside of Muller, briefly down into the Nouvelle Chicane, but can't find his way through at the moment. Wehrlein sort of in no man's land here. He's on the back of the Mahindra, but just
de
can't
Vries
seem to
is
find his way
gaining
through as they
a
head
bit.
in
He's got the
towards
gap's at
the swimming pool
1.4 now.
section. And again, Mortara just parking that car exactly where Wehrlein doesn't want him to at the moment. Coming into this race, Wehrlein was up to 3rd in the championship, courtesy of the victory last time
2 to go
in Miami. And he'll be taking some points home, but not as much as Oliver Rowland, as well as Nico Muller and the like in front as well. So 2 laps now then to go here in Monte Carlo. Rowland stabilises the gap at the front up to 1.6 seconds. De Vries in 2nd still. Dennis with that 5-second penalty, and Muller again playing the team game perfectly for Andretti, making that car as difficult to pass as he possibly can, and he's increased the gap up to about 4.5 seconds. And well, he'll be trying to do just that for the remainder of this race to keep Dennis in that final spot on the podium. Through Mirabeau we go. Nose tail here between 3rd, 4th and 5th. Gunter's having a good run of this one, by the way. He's up into 7th from 10th on the grid. Tickton, I think he'll see this as a missed opportunity given his pace in qualifying here today in Monaco. Down in 8th place. A couple of points it'll be for the British driver if it falls as it is now.
Muller's opened up. It's crucial now. 5 seconds. It's gone over. It's 5.2, and Mortara's having a sniff. So Muller's done a fantastic job for the team by holding up that 5-second gap.
Gap 5.2. De Vries playing the same game with Mortara.
Yeah, working quite nicely then here for Jake Dennis to keep that final podium place, and that's the beauty of having two cars in this Noah's Ark formation. We saw it last year here, if you remember, with Jaguar when they took a 1-2 finish.
White flag should be out. Yes, last lap
in Monaco
at Monaco.
Last year, it was Jaguar who used Nick Cassidy and Mitch Evans.
Roland won't run out before the two drivers behind him.
So the other can take attack mode, and that
Or
was
the
how
driver,
it finished
the two drivers behind him.
A similar story for the two Andretti.
You know, 5-second time penalty. Dennis will probably keep his podium. Although it probably should have been Nico Muller, considering Muller was the guy who cycled to the front.
Yeah, I mean, when your driver tells you the opening lap of the race that he thinks there's a reliability problem, that's you know, that's a nervous time for all of these people in that Nissan pit garage. But fingers crossed, he's got half a lap to go now as he turns into the tunnel. This has been a fantastic start to the season so far for Oliver Rowland, and he's half a lap away from Tom.
1%.
From adding another victory.
Yeah, it's coming down into the closing stages of this one, and unless lightning strikes twice.
Yeah, running out of energy again, that'd be crazy.
De Vries being told to bring it home in second place, and this will be a very welcome result, not only for Nick De Vries, but also for Mahindra as well. We come through into the final sector. Oliver Rowland, what a performance it has been. He's taken a podium in Monaco back in 2019, but he's never been on the top step.
Here comes number 27, no, 23, the points leader. Gonna notch off his third win of the season. Oliver Rowland wins the Monaco ePrix, number 1.
Wins the Monaco ePrix ahead of Nick De Vries.
Nick De Vries second, Jake Dennis third, even after the time penalty. Nico Muller will get fourth, Eduardo Mortara fifth. No, Mortara fourth, Muller fifth. Borderline 6th, Tipton 7th, Frines 8th, Van Dorn 9th, and Gunther the 10th.
Roger Griffiths absolutely delighted for the Andretti team to hold on to that final podium.
And tomorrow morning, we'll do it all over again. Thanks to everyone who showed up for the stream. See you tomorrow in a few hours for the Xfinity race. BowserJrXD signing off. Have a good one.